Hello yes, today I am going to show you how to call the child components into the main component. So here I have a component called component.html where I have the value which is initialized is initial count. So if you see here in my page, so I initialize the value 10, so that I am showing here. So my requirement is I want to call the another component to display this value. So not instead of the direct my component. So I want to create one more component called counter. From there I want to display the value. So that is the initial requirement for me. So how to do that? So let's start creating the new component and the associated HTML first. Okay, we call it as app counter dot, this is a component dot ts, then we'll call it as another file name called app dot counter html. Okay, so let's go and declare the selector component for that. So let's go here. Okay, I just imported the component, then okay, then the selector. So selector we call it as app dot counter. Okay, good. Then template URL. So we have separate template. So let's give the URL of that app dot counter dot html. Okay, good, fine. Then export class as counter component. Okay, cool. Okay, fine, we can ignore that. So now my selector is app counter. Okay, and let's go to the HTML. Just type like this is from counter component. Okay, that's good, so that I will understand whether the thing is working fine. So then copy the selector, then go to the app component, and here just enable that. Okay, then let's go in the browser and check. Okay, till it's not, so maybe okay, I didn't call it to the modules. Okay, let's go and add in the module. We can just declare the class, so just take the reference over there. Okay, supposed to get, okay, import. Counter component. Okay, so we declared now our component. Okay, still there is something need to be done. Okay, so all looks fine. Okay, so oh, here we go. So we got this from the component. Cool. Okay, let's go close all the stuff, so we don't want any other things. Okay, let's open the component. Okay, fine. So now we able to call. Okay, so now we able to call our child component to the app component. So this is, we call it as child now, right? So because we, this is considered as a parent, so inside we try to access the another component or use the another component, so we call it as child. Okay, so that's the things. So the next thing is how to pass the data to the child component. So that is the point we're going to discuss next level. Okay, so as I told the yearly, so this value I am displaying in my parent component. So my app component is a parent, so my child component is this counter component. So my counter data, it has to be come from here. Okay, so how to do that? Okay, but the thing is, the another thing also, so my parent should be initialize the count. Okay, that is the another requirement. See, suppose directly if I create any kind of variable like counter, okay, and pass the value 0, then it's not an issue that, see, kind of we initialized here. Same thing, we can call it suppose we call it as number 5, and we go and use it here. It definitely it should work, but the thing is how to pass from my parent to here. Suppose this first counter value should be set by my parent component. Okay, now let's check this. See, the value I got is 5, fine, but I want some initial value should be assessed or set by the parent component to the child component, or the simple way, I want to pass the value from my parent to the child component. So how to do that, we are going to see that. Okay, fine. So what is my requirement is, so default the counter is 0. Okay, cool, but my parent can decide what is the initial value, initial count of the counter. Okay, so how to do that? It's very simple. There is something called input. Through the input you can pass whatever the parameters you want to the child component, you can pass it from the parent. So how to do that? So this counter I just changed to @ input. Okay, cool. When I do this, so this will convert that, you can pass this value from wherever the component you are assessing. Okay, so how to do that? It's a very similar thing. So here you have to declare as your input property, the name it should be the same. Okay, and then you can pass the property of this. Okay, you understand what I am telling? Okay, cool. So this case what it will do, so my initial count, which is from the component app component, so that value will be applied to my child. So let's go and check it out. See, my default value in my counter I set 0, but from the component I am passing the initial count should be 10, so it will be override my value and it displays here my the value which is passed from the component. So this is the way you can pass even the more data. Suppose I have something, another property, you call it as something like message. Okay, call it as this is from parent. Okay, so this is the message that I want to pass it over to my counter. So what you can do is you can just message default null. Okay, this message you can call it over here. Okay, cool. So now you can pass same like here, you can message equal to the message property of my parent. Okay, so now see, so my data is passed from my parent to the child component. Hope you understand. So what we did is we created one component, and the first requirement is I want to create one component. That component I need to be used as a child of the component app component. Then I declare some value to the counter that I am passing to here, which is fine. So it's displaying. But what is the thing is I want to initialize some value. I want to pass some data from my parent to the child. That I did by using the input. Okay, so input where it helps you to, it is kind of a decorated property, so you can see understand the better. So it's kind of a DOM where you can supply the optional. Okay, we can supply the value from the parent to the child. So the another one thing is you can even change the different name. Suppose here instead of counter you want to pass it something like int. Okay, so this value now it throws error because there is no so you can see this error called as there is a no int property that is part of the app counter. Okay, yes, it is not the part of the app counter because that there is no input property is defined here. For that, how so you can you want to call something like a public name which is different, and your private name should be something like this. So how to do that? It's very simple. So here you need to define it. See, like in the input you can define the public name. So then see, then it will be works accordingly. Okay, cool. Okay, so this is the way you can define the public name as well. Hopes I think I covered all the points to pass to handle the child components to my parent and to pass the value out. So next session I will show you how to pass the data from child to parent. Okay, I am doing some operation with this counter that I want to pass it again back to my parent. How to do that? Okay, stay tuned. I will be upload the next video based on that.